All right, so we're back. We have made our pesto and our hummus already, and that is all dished up and ready to get eaten. But before we eat all of those yummy dips, we need to make our flatbreads. So I have already started our recipe today by incorporating all of my dry ingredients in a bowl. Now I'm cutting our recipe in half because I don't have 10 to 12 people to enjoy our flatbreads today. So by cutting the recipe in half, we're going to make about 5 to 6 flatbreads. So I've put a cup and a half of flour in here. The recipe calls for 3 cups. I have also put in a teaspoon of baking powder, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So I've made sure that these things are all nicely incorporated. Now it's time for me to add in our wet ingredients. So today that's going to be ice water. The ice is all melted, but this is still pretty cool. And olive oil. Let's start by adding 1 tablespoon. We'll do a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. And the thing with our recipes today is you just kind of have to do your own experimentation, like what works well for you. So I'm gonna start with this much oil. I might have to add a little bit more, but we'll see. And we'll do 1/4 cup of water. Same thing with the water. I'm going to see how my dough comes together, but we'll start with 1/2 cup. I believe I said 1/4 cup, that was wrong. Okay, now I'm going to lightly mix this in. And as you can see, it's already forming a nice dough ball. So the whisk just helped me kind of get this going. Now I am going to kind of evacuate all of this dough with my finger out of the whisk. And I'm just going to do this by hand because that's easier for me. I've made sure that my hands are nice and clean. They were just washed. But I am going to mix this together lightly with my fingers. So we're kind of at a cohesive ball. So I'm going to transfer this to an already floured surface. I'm just kneading it. You can also put this in, if you have a KitchenAid mixer, put it on the dough hook setting and let it come together. Food processor, you can work with that. But I think there's nothing quite like working with dough by hand. It just feels really good. And how I'm kneading this is I'm taking my hand like this. I'm pushing the palm of my hand into the ball, and I'm pushing out like that. And then I'm picking it back up, folding it over, and doing the same thing with the other hand. So you'll get into a nice rhythm, but the trade-off just happens when you fold the dough over. And it's getting kind of sticky, so I'll incorporate more flour. I'm just feeling the dough ball, and it feels not sticky, but a little bit tacky. So we are at the perfect stage to let our dough rest. So I'm just going to put it back in the mixing bowl, and I'm going to cover this with a little bit of wax paper. You can use cling wrap, like saran wrap, or a wet dish towel. But I'm just gonna let this sit for a little bit, and this cover is going to protect it from developing a crust. Okay, see you in 10 minutes.
Hi everyone, I'm going to teach you a quick recipe how to make your own tahini sauce at home, and you're going to use this for the carrot hummus that Farmer Hannah is making. Ingredients that you're going to need. First, you're going to need some sesame tahini. salt, some cumin, some lemon juice, and I'm gonna use 1 lemon's worth of lemon juice. And then you need ice water. And you're gonna need as much ice water as you'll need to get to the proper consistency for the tahini sauce, and I'll show you that consistency.
Can you tell us a little bit what you're looking for fresh tahini, or just tahini?
Yeah, fresh tahini. When I buy my tahini, I'm looking for tahini that's well mixed. If I have tahini where the oil is sitting on the top and the solids are sitting on the bottom, it means that it's not as fresh and it's been sitting in the can for a long time. This tahini is nice and fresh. When I open the lid, everything is nicely mixed and it's got a nice smooth consistency. So this is what I'm looking for when I'm buying it. First step is I'm gonna juice the lemons. I'm gonna take my tahini. You're gonna use about 2 cups, and this container is 2 cups. So I'm gonna use 2 cups of tahini. Just pour that right in. And I'm going to pour my lemon juice just right into it. If you want it more sour, just add more lemon juice. Go about 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice. I'm gonna start whisking it up, and it's gonna go from being nice and smooth, it's gonna seize up, it's gonna get really chunky, and you're gonna think something's wrong with it, but just stick with it, all right? So I'm gonna start mixing it up. Okay, I got the lemon juice incorporated, almost there. All right, see, it's starting to seize up. It's not really smooth anymore, but that's okay. Because now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add water a little bit at a time until we get that nice consistency. So I'm gonna add water a little bit at a time. It helps if it's ice water. I couldn't tell you why, this is just how I learned how to make it. But just add a little bit of ice water a little bit at a time until we get that consistency. I'm gonna add a little salt now. Start with about that much salt. We can taste it for seasoning afterwards. I'm gonna add some cumin just to give it a little flavor. This isn't required, but it tastes good. Mix that in. Let's try one more time. Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
And that's it. That's all it is to it.
Awesome.
So this is your tahini sauce. Nice texture, nice consistency. You can put it on vegetables, you can put it on fish. You can just dip pita bread in it. You can add garlic to it, make it a garlic tahini sauce. Add some chili to it, make it a little spicy. This is a really good base sauce for a lot of things, and I think it goes well with everything, so enjoy.
So going back to our flatbread dough, it's been resting for 10 minutes again. And now I'm just gonna put it back out on our floured surface like this. And I'm gonna start to divide this into 5 to 6 pieces. We're gonna dredge it in flour, and that just means to get it nicely coated like that. I have 7 dough balls out of that one big one. Didn't think I would get to pull out 7, but it looks like we have enough. And this could be more accurate if you have a kitchen weight, but just kind of going with what feels good is kind of the best rule of thumb. Okay, so since these have been all dredged, I'm just gonna kind of flatten them out in my hand. And you can get them even flatter by using a rolling pin or smushing them between plates or something. But I'm just gonna use the heel of my hand to kind of stretch it out. All right, and I'll do a little kind of like pizza stretch here. Pizza dough and flatbread dough is actually very similar, kind of serve the same function. So that looks about right to me. We don't want them too big, just for this recipe. So let's put that in the oil. I'll turn it up a little bit. see what happens. Let's check this out. This was the perfect time to flip. I should have flipped probably a little bit sooner, but that took about, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes to get nice and toasty on one side. And we'll take 1 more minute to let the other side get toasty. So that's our first flatbread all done. Now we've got to get through 6 more of these. So we'll just cut ahead to when they're all done, and we'll taste them all together and see what they're like with our dips. So we made our flatbread, and oh my gosh, folks, it looks so good. We made about 7, as you can see. And the first one was a little bit of a dud. It's a little bit too burned, but these feel nice and puffy, and they're super warm, kind of hot still from the skillet, but we're going to plate these now and try it in our dip. So I'm gonna put some on a plate for Farmer Grace. Yes. And the way I like to eat flatbread, and flatbread can be pita bread, can be naan. I don't know if tortillas are considered a flatbread, but this is also really good. You just, I don't know, want to share without any utensils. So I'm gonna try the pesto first. Oh my goodness, that's so good. I have to do a little dance. It's like, it's very sweet. I don't know if it's because of the carrot tops, but it's good. And now for the hummus. Wow. That is 2 thumbs up. It is so sweet because of the roasted carrots. And it's also really spicy and nutty. Oh my goodness, I think this is my new favorite snack. Wow, Farmer Grace, do you want to try?
Farmer Hannah, you outdone yourself.
Thank you. Yum, 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 right? Yeah, you got to do a little dance. Yeah. All right, so if you tried this recipe, please let us know. And if you came up with your own happy food dance, please show us. Here's Farmer Grace's.